The last train of the night was almost empty. Only a few people sat inside, each lost in their own world. The lights were soft. The sound of the train was slow and steady. I sat near the window. Outside, the city moved like a quiet dream. Streetlights passed by, one after another. I felt tired, not only in my body, but in my heart. Every night felt the same. Work, silence, sleep, then the same again. I was going home, but it never felt like home anymore. It was just a small room with cold walls. No voices, no laughter. At the next station, the doors opened. A man stepped inside. He looked around, then sat beside me. He was older than me. His hair was gray. His coat looked worn but clean. He carried a small bag on his lap. We did not speak. The train started moving again. Minutes passed. The silence felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. Then the man slowly turned his head and looked at me. He smiled gently. "Long day?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes, very long." He laughed softly. "I know that feeling," he said. We looked forward again. The train kept moving through the dark city. After a moment, he spoke again. "Where are you going?" "Home," I said. But the word felt empty as I said it. He nodded. "Me too," he replied. Another quiet moment passed. Then he said, "Home can be a strange place sometimes." I turned to him, surprised. It felt like he had read my thoughts. "Yes," I said slowly. "It doesn't feel the same anymore." He looked at his hands. "I lost my wife 3 years ago," he said. "Since then, home feels very quiet." I did not know what to say, so I just listened. "She used to wait for me every night," he continued. "She would make tea and ask about my day. Even when I had nothing to say, she listened." His voice was calm, but his eyes were full of memories. "I'm sorry," I said softly. He smiled again. "Thank you. I miss her, but I am thankful too." "For what?" I asked. "For the time we had," he said. "Some people never feel that kind of love." I looked down at my hands. I had lost someone too, not to death, but to time and distance. "I understand," I said. The train slowed as it reached another station. No one got on. No one got off. The man opened his bag and took out a small photo. He did not show it to me, but he looked at it with care. "Sometimes," he said, "a stranger is easier to talk to." I nodded. "Yes," I said, "because they don't know your past." He smiled. "Exactly." I felt something warm inside my chest. It was strange. I had not felt this in a long time. The train continued its journey. "I used to be afraid of nights like this," he said. "Empty trains, quiet streets, but now I see them differently." "How?" I asked. "They remind me that life keeps moving," he said. "Even when we feel stuck." His words stayed with me. I thought about my own life, about the mistakes, the missed chances, the people I stopped talking to. "I think I've been running," I said quietly. He looked at me with interest. "Running from what?" "From myself," I answered. He nodded slowly. "That is the hardest thing to face." The train lights flickered for a second. Then everything became bright again. "My stop is coming soon," he said. I felt a small sadness. I did not want this conversation to end. "Mine too," I replied. The train slowed down once more. The doors opened with a soft sound. The man stood up and picked up his bag. Before leaving, he looked at me. "Thank you," he said, "for listening." "No," I said. "Thank you." He paused, then said, "Remember, you are not as alone as you think." Then he stepped out of the train. The doors closed. I watched him through the window as the train moved again. Soon he disappeared into the night. When I reached my stop, I stepped out too. The air was cool and quiet. As I walked home, I felt lighter. Nothing in my life had changed, but something inside me had. I opened my door. The room was still quiet, but it did not feel as cold as before. I made myself a cup of tea. I sat by the window. Outside, a train passed in the distance. I smiled softly. Tomorrow would still be hard, but tonight I felt hopeful. Sometimes all we need is one quiet conversation, one stranger, one moment that reminds us we are human.